Hey guys, I'm just taking a little break sitting out here on my patio with my dog, and I wanted to talk about a subject that's covered a lot on YouTube and in this community, which is rifles for shitheads the fan. I wanted to go over a great budget option. It's very popular. Everyone always says it, but I'd like to articulate a few different things. A lot of people don't explain a lot of things about the 7.62x39 cartridge, and more in particular the SKS rifle. A lot of people discount these now because they are getting more expensive, but you can still find a good SKS functional condition for $400. It's not a bad rifle. Let me talk about the cartridge first. So 7.62x39, everyone knows it's the AK round. It's the SKS round. It's 30 caliber. It's packs a decent punch, not the most, but it's adequate. It's no 308, but I would wager that for the southeastern United States, it's a really difficult cartridge to beat. It's powerful enough to take deer. You could probably even take black bear with it if you knew what you're doing using a good heavy bullet. And let me elaborate here. It doesn't have the most excellent range in the world. Point blank range is like, I don't know, it's 200-ish yards, a little less maybe. But it's a very good rifle. A very good cartridge, rather. Essentially, in the southeastern United States, most of your shots hunting are going to be within 100 yards. Definitely within 150. Anything bigger than that is going to be really rare. And the standard acceptable accuracy has been pipe plated at 100 yards for hunting. That's what you always hear. That's what all the old timers go for. That's what they always say. And that's with a 30-30. 30-30 is usually in a lever action Winchester 94 or a lever action Marlin 336 or variant of that. Now, the 7.62x39 is a 30 caliber bullet like the 30-30, but it's going a little slower. There's not quite as much energy, but it shoots a little bit flatter. And by the time you get to about 150, 200 yards, this actually ends up having more energy than the 30-30 because of the bullet shape. It's a Spitzer bullet rather than a flat nose, like a round nose bullet. So if you are getting one of those rarer shots, longer shots, and you're like 150 plus yards, this is going to either equal or outperform the 30-30, which is the southeastern standard for whitetail, black bear, anything. So really it's an excellent choice for this entire area. Obviously it's capable of being a very well-rounded defensive round. Always has been, but it's also capable of being a adequate hunting round, even with scopes. And if you really want to, you can. I've seen forums, and I've seen, even in real life, I've seen examples of fairly accurized SKSs. You're not going to get MOA, but you could certainly get, 2, 3, if you know what you're doing. And that's without even replacing the stock. That's the same stock. Coming standard, you're probably more in the 5 to 8 range, but once again, pipe plated at 100 yards, that's always been reasonable accuracy for the southeast. Being a 30 caliber round, it's gonna, first of all, it's gonna be a little, you're gonna have more blood trail, better blood trail on deer, and on black bear. It's gonna hit a little harder than like a 223, and it's, although its range is a little less, it's further on what you're actually going to be using. Like you could use 223 on a deer. I don't know if you really could use 223 on a black bear. I'm sure if it was attacking you, it would make it fuck off. I'm not sure hunting wise you'd ever catch that thing. That is a very small bullet on not a crazy dense animal, but dense enough. But this packs enough punch to eat through it, I think. Like I said, we can look at the ballistic charts. It's It's about a 100 to 200 feet per second less than 30-30 until you get to about that 150, 200 yard mark. And then this outperforms it. Once again, that's about the longest shot you're going to have here. I think it's adequate, especially with a good heavier bullet. Maybe not a 123 grain, but maybe like a 158 or 156 or whatever it is. Good hunting bullet. You don't even need that on deer. The SKS is just the cheapest platform. AKs are better, in my opinion, for defensive use. But this is adequate. This is just set up stock standard. Has a stripper clip guide, 10-round detachable, or not detachable, 10-round fixed box mag. But you can switch these out. They make some detachable variations, but I wouldn't go with them. I don't think they're worth it. I think they're kind of hokey and irreliable. They make some 20-round fixed box mags that are probably not as reliable as a 10, but I would say they're more reliable than the other aftermarket. And from what I've seen, they're reliable enough most of the time. I just test yours when you got it, shoot a couple hundred rounds through, make sure there's no issues. Now these do have a free-floating firing pin, so they are a little more delicate than like an AK. You could have a problem there. An AK would be better. If you're on a real budget, you go for a PS AK for like 600, 700 bucks. I heard that advice recently, and that totally rings true. But this is going to be, for the most part, SKSs are slightly more accurate than imported AKs of a similar price range. So, you know, $600 import versus a $400 SKS. They're usually a little more accurate, longer barrel. But nowadays, not necessarily true with these. With either more expensive AKs or like the PS AKs probably shoot a little better, or about the same, pre-accurized. It does come with a bayonet. This is a Norinco, so it has a spike bayonet, but I don't really care. I know some people are all up in arms about bayonets, like hardcore up in arms about bayonets. They just absolutely love them, wouldn't go anywhere without them, always want the bayonet. I don't really care. I think it's kind of just makes the gun a little heavier. Great, now you have a spear if your gun breaks. Just try to transition to my pistol, probably. I guess I could see a argument for like you getting jumped in an alleyway, but if you're getting jumped in an alleyway, you really have enough room to maneuver a big gun like this. But whatever, it's there if you want it. If you don't, you can just take it right off. Same with the cleaning rod. Some people just take those off to save weight. I have a butt pad on mine because I'm gigantic. I'm 6'6", about like 285. So I run mine with a rubber butt pad over the stock. But yeah, these are not awful rifles. If you can only get one and you're on a real budget, see if you can find you a SKS. It doesn't really matter if the stock's beat up or anything. I mean, this one's in good shape. But if it's beat to hell or something, as long as there's no cracks and your action doesn't move a lot in the stock, it's fine. They make scope mounts for these that you can get, but most of them end up being a new top cover here. And that has some of its own issues because usually the way the scopes mount are, like I said, to the top cover, and you have to remove and put the top cover back on every time you clean the rifle. Every time you do that, you're going to lose 0, and you're going to have to find it all over again, which will have you dirty back up your rifle. If you want a scope, you can do it. Just, you know, shoot slightly better than the worst ammo you can find. Shoot non-corrosive, clean it the best you can without taking it apart. If you don't want a scope, you can still do pretty well with these sights. If I planned on hunting with this, I probably wouldn't keep the bayonet and the cleaning rod on. Probably take that off. But for general purposes, it still has pretty decent accuracy with them on. I really enjoy this rifle. I like SKSs in general. Not the best option in the world, but I think for that price point and for specifically the southeastern United States, there's a lot of brush, and the biggest thing you have to worry about is a black bear. Your longest shot hunting, you know, 150, 200 yards max, like over a cornfield or something. And I think it's an excellent rifle. I mean, 7.62 by 39, even just 10 rounds in the semi-auto form's enough for most situations. Yeah, AK's better, whatever. Yeah, an AR's better for self-defense. It's more modular and stuff. AK gives you this round and a better platform with more ammo and maybe a little less accurate, or maybe equally as accurate, maybe a tad more if you really spend on it, but you're not going to get a good one for $400, and at least you can. Really simple, really rugged military rifle. And that's why they're everyone's standard. I mean, they're everyone's budget standard. $400. Pick up one of these suckers. They're not going to be that way forever. Honestly, they're going up by the day, really. They're getting rarer and harder to find. So if you want one, grab them while they're here. Also, be sure stock up on some 7.62 by 39. They always say, oh, we're banning Russian ammo, and they do it, but there's still always plenty of ammo. U.S. manufacturers will start making it eventually, if there is none, but it will be more expensive. But yeah, for the Southeast, I think this is a really decent rifle, and more importantly, a decent cartridge. If you get a cheap AK in this cartridge, get the cheap AK. If you get if you find a VZ58 or something at a great price that you just can't pass up, get that. This is just 7.62 by 39 is, in my mind, the ideal cartridge for the Southeast. Ideal. If I was gonna move out west, maybe I'd go 308. 6.5 Creedmoor wouldn't be a bad choice, but I like 308 a little better. More abundant. NATO round. 308's always on the shelf, even now. Even when ammo is crazy expensive, 308 was still, $25 a box instead of $20 a box. Not a massive deal. I will say this though, if you're gonna get one of these and you plan to rock it as your like shit hit the fan, Mad Max into the world loadout, and you're getting stripper clips to reload your action, so for quicker reloads, buy the actual Milsurp ones. Don't buy no cheap knockoffs, man. I've done that. They're awful. Buy actual, like, either Chinese or Eastern European Milsurp clips. You don't want to mess with. You just don't. You don't even want to mess. You don't want to mess with any new production, NC Star or any of that shit. It's awful. Get you good sling too. This one came with this rifle, so it did the bayonet and a bunch of military clips. But yeah, guys. I mean, you could do videos on other rifles and cartridges, but like I said, Southeast ideal in my mind. I do not think you can beat this. 308's great, but for the price, the availability, and the hell, just the price point of the rifle too. I mean, even if you get a cheap AR-10, it's going to be twice this and probably unreliable. I don't really trust AR-10s cheaper than like $2,000. Even that's pushing it. So, other than that, what are your choices? Like FAL M14, PTR. Those are all going to be tremendously more than this. What's the cheapest one? I guess the cheapest battle rifle you could get would be like a C308 for like $700 or $800 if you got lucky and found one that cheap. Used to be dirt cheap. Mags would be cheap, but then 308's crazy expensive, and that's still twice the cost of one of these. I mean, these will do everything you need to for the Southeast. I just can't emphasize that enough. Southeast, this location, southeastern United States. They're just a rockin' rifle. They're bitchin', man, and they're cool. It's like having a cheap piece of shit and yet mildly improved copy of a M1 Garand. If you have any love for Milsurp or militaries around the world, you just it's excellent gun. But all right, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your pick would be, budget or more expensive. I might do a more expensive video later. I think I already have one, but I'll update it a little bit. But all right, guys, catch you later.